Alexa, turn it up. Well, you came on already. Turn it up, Alexa. Had to work on getting rid of some noise on there, but it looks like it has been done. So, with that said, yeah, it is me, R.J. Sheldon, to be exact, Psychic R.J. Sheldon, here in San Antonio, the spiritualist. I'm here today to share a story out of my upcoming book, The Unknown at 10, The Experiences of a Boy. Let me turn this extra light off. There we go. I already had somebody calling in. I missed the call. I do apologize. But let's see who it is. I will be reading a story out of my book. Well, looks like it was a scam call, so I do apologize for that. I will be reading a story out of my book, The Known At 10. Hello.
Connect your call, press 9.
I should know better than answer those things. They're scams. Unbelievable. But I get suckered into them. But here we go. Looks like I got some stuff interfering with my camera, but I'm in my mic system, but we'll get that worked out. I want to welcome each and every one of you for coming into my show. I haven't done one of these in a good while, and I appreciate you coming aboard. Turn this sound effects down. It's in here. There we go. Alexa, stop. Now, for those of you that know me, I don't have to explain a whole lot, but those that don't, I am going to explain. Let me get this. There's something throwing me off balance on my camera, but there we go. Uh-oh. Well, this stuff gets, you can't touch nothing. Everything goes sideways. But I discovered when I was very young that I was different from a lot of the kids in my area. I could see things, hear things that didn't make sense. But I accepted them, even though I was scared. I accepted them, and I dealt with them. And it wasn't until my mother was ready to pass away that she really explained things to me. As to who and what I could expect out of who I was. There we go. Got that booger out of the way. I seem totally unorganized. I do apologize. Once again, I am spiritualist R.J. Sheldon, local psychic here in San Antonio, known as an empath, clairvoyant. Got a very large following. I used to be known as Spiritualist Joseph before the epidemic of 21-22 or 2021 in there. We were forced to shut down. I got rid of my website and quit doing readings for people or investigations, and kind of lost my clientele, but that's okay. I still got a big following. I did many shows. The last one I did was at Bear County Country Club. We had 1,650 people there. I was one of 4 of the psychics that were there, or clairvoyants, that were reading for people. And it was a lot of fun. However, let me see if that works a little better. That seems to work. That seems to have helped. So, out of all the shows I've done, I've picked up clientele or followers. I call everybody followers. I don't like the word clients. They come see me when they want. Not because I promise them anything or ask them to bring me more money. I don't do that. A real psychic doesn't need to do that. Or a real clairvoyant. I don't charge a whole lot for my gift or my, as a kid I called it either a gift or a nightmare, a curse or what have you. To be sitting around the house 8 or 9 years old and you hear something in the background and you're all by yourself, and you hear something in the background and you don't know what to think of it. It makes your hair stand up, and you kind of, what in the world, what do you do?
Can you see me?
Excuse me, I'm busy.
Hello?
Hello.
Can you find me?
No, I don't have time. I'm busy.
Can you find me?
No.
I'm here.
Where?
Behind you, look. Behind you.
There's nobody behind me. I'm sorry, but no.
I'm behind you.
No, you're not.
I am right behind you.
No, you're not.
Don't be scared.
I'm not
I
scared.
just want to play a game with you.
I don't play with kids.
Hey, don't you run away.
I'm
Please
not running away.
Stay with me. If you don't come play with me, then we will kill you.
You think so? What'd you say?
Hey, please stay.
No.
Stay with me.
No.
If you don't come play with me, then we will kill you.
Really? Really? That's what. I don't think so, sweetheart. That's the stuff you put up with as a child. Sometimes you can handle it, and sometimes you can't. But you live with it. You go with it, I guess. And you feel like you're weird. You know, as a kid in school, I bump into somebody. I see the things going on in their life that would be horrifying to a 7 or 8 year old. And you wonder, what the hell is my problem? Well, I didn't curse back then, but you wonder what's going on. What did I do? And I see my shield went sideways. And it's going to bother me through the whole show, so I got to straighten it out. Or yeah, I got to straighten this shield out. Hold on. Okay, guys, I found the culprit. I was tangled up. My headset was tangled up with the mic cord and pulling on the plug. So there we go. But anyway, as a child, you had an occasion either at PE or just to the hallway, you get bumped into each other or whatever, and you see something. Sometimes as a child, you could relate to it, and sometimes it was so horrifying and ugly, you couldn't relate to it. Abuse, and some of, let's just say, very disgusting. And I would find myself separating, not wanting to do anything around other kids for the fear of bumping into them and picking up on what's going on in their little private life. I mean, I was a little guy myself, barely weighed 70 pounds. I was so thin back then. Couldn't tell that now, but back then I was pretty thin. But I'd even go eat lunch. I'd take my sack lunch and my drink and go way out in the baseball diamonds or somewhere. There was a tree out there. I'd go sit, eat my lunch. Uh, there was one guy that we became real close friends. His name was Ralph. I do remember that. I won't say his last name because I don't have his permission to be talking about him. But I will say his first name, Ralph. And he come out there one day. What are you doing way out here, Bobby? My given name is Bobby. I said, I just like eating alone. You're weird. Well, a couple days later or a few days later, I don't know, we were out for PE. And you have to stretch your arms, and make room so you can do jumping jacks and whatever without bumping into people. And he was forever trying to be my friend. So he got in line next to me. And then when I stretched out, he didn't move fast enough, and I poked him on the shoulder. And he looked at me and said, hey, or something like that. But in that moment of connection, as if it was me, I saw a big person, a tall man, about my dad's age, yelling and screaming and slapping me in the face and screaming again. I'm like, whoa. And I looked at him and I noticed up under his chin he had a little bit of a bruise. And I thought about it. So I started friending him and hanging with him, and he'd come bring his lunch out there where I was at, and we sit there and sometimes exchange food or snacks, whatever. And we started talking, getting to know each other, and became friends. And one afternoon, after school, I started walking home. My brother always had my older brother August. He had his own little group of I guess you call them jocks type guys. Me, I was kind of weird and a nerd type person, but I had a pocket full of pens, all that stuff in the second and third grade. I mean, but anyway, so Ralph caught up with me and said, "Hey, Bobby, where you going?" I said, "I'm walking home." "Where do you live?" I said, "Live on the other side of 35. I have to go over the top and then down the other side and on down to Brighton Street." And I live almost at the end of Brighton Street. "But you go right by my house." I said, "I do." "Yeah, when you come off on the other side, off the walkway, you make a right, and my house is right. Our house is right there in the corner, Fish Street." I said, "I'll be damned." Well, I didn't say "I'll be damned." I said, "Wow," or something like that. But we didn't cuss when I was a kid. It was unheard of. You'd lose a tooth if you weren't careful. Uh, so I said, "Oh, okay. Well, can we walk together?" I said, "Sure," or something like that. So we continued. And he says, "Why don't you come over to my house real quick?" I said, "I have to get home." "Oh, just come on real quick." So, okay. So I followed him to his house, you know, and we walk in. I guess it was a early fall day because the mom had the windows and door open, and it was a nice breeze. And Ralph, she asked Ralph, who was this, or who were you, or whatever, who's that boy, or something. Anyway, wanted to know who I was. And I said, well, he says, well, it's my friend from school. This is Bobby Sheldon, right? I said, yeah. And she went to shake my hand, and welcome me. And I noticed her fingers were all kind of, well, she had arthritis real bad in her joints, and they were all getting the best of her. She said, well, you know what? I just happened to make Ralph cookies this morning. Would you like one or two? Y'all come and sit at the table. So she poured us a glass of milk, old tradition, right? Milk and cookies. And we're sitting there talking, carrying on. And he says, well, your dad's almost home. I got to get supper set up. Are y'all finished or something like that? So we were done. So she grabbed her glasses. And he looked at me and said, I guess you better go now. I says, oh, okay, yeah, I better get home because my mom's going to be looking for me. She'll be worried, whatever. And we walked out the front door. I remember it's kind of maroon asphalt tiling on the house. I do remember that gray porch. So we walk out, and this great big old long white car full of chrome pulls in. Well, if I remember correctly, it was either an Oldsmobile or a Pontiac, one of them great big ones, a 65 or something, or 62, somewhere in there. And as I walked by down the side of the driveway, which was a gravel driveway, really, the father was stepping out and he said, who the hell are you? Ralph, what the hell's he doing in my house? Well, he's a friend from school, Dad. He's my friend from school, Bobby. I don't give a damn. You need to get out of here, son. You don't belong here. Get out of here. Go home. And I looked at him. I said, yeah, I know who you are. He says, what? I said, I know who you are. Yeah, I'm Ralph's dad. I said, that's what I meant. And I walked away. But right then, it all hit me. I saw more. Ralph put his hand on my shoulder. I'll see you in school tomorrow, or something to that effect. I can't remember the exact word, but that we would contact in the morning. Oh, he was going to wait for me there at the corner, and we'd walk the rest of the way to school. So we became pretty good friends. Well, we got to where we were hanging out, and he got me to hang out with them and some of the other guys at lunchtime to play football. I wasn't good at it, but they didn't seem to mind. They weren't that good at it either. And I enjoyed it. I had all of a sudden had some friends, and it was good. Well, I don't know how long it was, a week or two, a month or two, I don't know, but I do know it was a little bit before Christmas, and we were walking across that overpass over 35 there on the south side of San Antonio to get to the side where I needed to be and he needed to be. He said, "Come to the house. My mom made a batch of cookies." I think it was before Christmas, or that she had some Halloween cookies left over or something. And so we went, and of course the mother right away, "Oh, hey, Poppy, you know, da 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 da. And y'all sit down and get. You want some cookies?" She had a thing about making cookies. She had a bunch of them. We sat down, and she brought us some cookies and some milk, and we're sitting there carrying on again, talking about school and this and that and whatever. And you know how everybody thinks I'm a weird kid as well. It's because I don't feel comfortable around a lot of people, you know, and stuff like that. And then the mom goes, "Son, I'm sorry, but your dad ought to be pulling up a little bit. You know how he gets about strangers or people in the house that he doesn't know. And I got to get the table set." And he had a lot of control over that woman. And she pat me on the back and said, "You come back now and come over one Saturday and hang out with Ralph." And, you know, okay. But when she did that, I saw the father not only slapping Ralph, but pushing her and yelling at her about different things. And I turned around and looked at her. She kind of reminded me of Olive Oil. She was very thin, very fragile looking. I said, "Thank you, ma'am, Miss," by Ralph's last name. And damn, as I walked out, here's that long white ass car pulling. And that door flew open. "What the hell are you doing here?" Again. "Didn't I tell you, you're a weird kid. I don't like you." I said, "But I know who you are. And now I know where Ralph gets his bruises. And your wife. Yeah, I know who you are." I said, "My dad was in the Army. I'm in the Air Force. Get the hell out of here. You're a weird kid." Of course, may have been in different words, but basically what he was telling me. And I looked at him, and instead of wanting to cry, I wanted to hit him, but I was too little. Maybe 2 foot tall, a little over 2 foot, maybe 3 foot. But I wanted to kick him and hit him so bad for what I could see him doing to his wife and his son. I said, "Maybe I'll just tell my teacher or my dad who you are, how you are. I don't like you either." And I took off running with my books as fast as my little bitty legs could take me in my little 3 or 4 size 4 shoes, you know. And I kept looking back thinking he was following me, but he wasn't. Next day at school, Ralph said, "Man, I wish you wouldn't have talked to my dad like that, man." I said, "Did he hit you again?"
No, my dad doesn't hit me. Yes, he does. That's why he always has, like he grabbed you by the neck. He started tearing up, not crying, boo, but he teared up. He does. And sometimes he gets real mad and he'll pick me up by my neck. Tell me to be a man. Okay. But those are the kind of things that I would see as a child. I had another conference. I had another confrontation with the dad. It was on a Saturday that he asked his mom if I could spend the morning with him. He had two bikes, one old bike and a new bike he'd gotten for Christmas. And he gave me the other bike, but we had to fix some flats on it and what have you. And he said, "Well, do that and you can have it." I said, "I don't know how to ride a bike." "I'll teach you. There's nothing to it." Well, his driveway was, even though it was gravel, it was in a little bit of a downslope. You could go up to the house and downslope. This is how I taught myself. Watch. He'd climb on there by the porch, hold on to the handlebars, and then let it coast. Of course, he already knew how to ride it. And once it started coasting, he started pedaling. He said, "That's how I taught myself. Come on." And so he got me to climb up on there. He said, "All right, now hold on to the handlebars and just look straight ahead. And keep your feet on the pedals, or something like that." I said, "No, I'm going to fall." "No, you're not." And he let go, and that thing started rolling. I'm wobbling around, Yeah, little wimp. Sissy boy, they call him. My dad would call me. But the first couple of times I went over. He picked me back up. "Come on, let's try it again." After about the fifth or sixth time, I got the hang of it. Wasn't pedaling it, but I'd ride it, make it to the driveway to the street, and catch myself, get off, roll back. Before you know it, I was pedaling. Well, within an hour, Ralph had me riding his old bike. So we were allowed, the street he lived on had a little shop on one end, and they had a big parking lot, and they closed fairly early in the day, but they weren't there on Saturday or Sunday. So we went over to their parking lot, and we were just going around and around in circles on the bike. And he said, "You can have that bike and take it home." I said, "You sure?" "Yeah, just ride it home. Don't walk." And his mom was standing there on the porch. "If he wants you to have it, you can have it." And guess who pulls up the driveway as I'm starting to pull out of the driveway on the bicycle? His dad. And he said something like, "Where the hell you going that bike?" Or who said you could take that bike, or something like that. And the wife tried to tell him that Ralph gave it to me, that way we could ride together. And he made a big deal about it. He said some ungodly things to me, some things I'd never heard before. But I looked at him and said, "You know what? I know who you are. I know how you are. And I know what you do to your wife and what you do to Ralph. And I told you before, you're not going to treat me like that. I'm not your son. Or you can't treat me like that," or whatever. So I'm going to tell my mom and dad. He said, "Just go. Leave the bike and go, and don't ever come back to this house again." I said, "I don't want to. You're a devil." Well, Monday, I figured Ralph was going to be kind of mad, but he come to me. He said, "My dad didn't talk to me all weekend, or my mom. You did something to him." I said, "I didn't do anything to him." "No, but whatever you said to him, he's different." Well, went along. School was almost finished, And I never saw Ralph with bruises anymore. I started going over there, and he saw me. He would stay clear of me. His father would stay clear of me. Wouldn't even get close to me. Just say, "You're weird, kid. Get away from me." That's fine. But Ralph said him and his mom didn't have any more problems from me. I don't know if it's the fear that I was going to tell my mom and dad or tell the school, but it's what it was. When you're a psychic, especially a kid, and you hear and see things that you can't understand, all you can do is cope with it. And I have ran into people that have had that situation, and they don't know how to handle it, you know. It really gets under their skin. But all they can do is cope with it. Now, that wasn't the story I was planning on telling today, but I did tell you that one. I'll share another one with you. It's going to be in my second book, not in my first book, but it'll be in my second book. I had moved to Houston with my ex-wife. She wanted to live there because she had a sister there and a couple of brothers living up there and working, and she thought the money was better and everything was better. And I guess I can say in some ways I did enjoy it. It was different, but it wasn't home. San Antonio was my home. Born and raised here. This was my roots. But I made do because that's where she wanted to be. Well, I'd gone through a couple of jobs. I was running a nightclub. I worked for a company called PC, Industrial Corrosion Products, I think it was, Inc. And had a situation there, and I left and wound up running a nightclub as a bouncer manager. I enjoyed it. Of course, it was a swingers club, but I didn't understand. I thought that meant everybody liked to dance there, but I found out later what it meant. And I see Jolie with Mary, but Mary wasn't his wife, and Josie living with Tom, but Tom wasn't her husband, you know, or they'd all go together. Weird. But I figured it out after I had a fight with somebody there. But anyway, certain circumstances forced the owners to shut down while I was gone on vacation. So I wanted to go and work for his trucking company, which was way out there in the north end of Houston. And I lived in Pasadena. That would be, if you're familiar with San Antonio, it'd be like driving from Somerset, Texas to Cibolo, Texas, because it was a good drive. 52 miles across there, one way. And when I worked at the nightclub, it took me an hour to drive 12 miles almost. That's how bad traffic would be. Or about 12 miles. But traffic would be so backed up on 225. Then I'd have to get on the loop, and that would be backed up. Then I'd have to pass 45, and that would be backed up. Al and Genoa, 288. And then get off the telephone road where the club was at. And Houston was always full of traffic, and probably still is today. But anyway, I wound up going to work at his trucking company as the sales rep and dispatcher in training. But it came second nature. It's almost like I'd done this before. That's a whole nother story when I tell you how I found out that I hadn't, but my grandfather had. But anyway, I went to work out there north of Houston off Rankin Road. And one evening, and I'm going to say it was in the fall because I got off at 5 and it was already dark by the time I got up on the Loop 1604. I mean, Loop 610, which is like Loop 410 here in San Antonio, and 620 in Dallas. And You get to the ship channel, you had this great big old bridge. I mean, it had an incline that was gigantic. I mean, you were like big enough for big ships to go through and never touch the bridge. First couple times I went over it, it really spooked me. You know, country boy from San Antonio, I barely went over any kind of a tiny little bridge along something that tall. But I had rebuilt this old Toyota pickup that I bought from a neighbor when I lived in that haunted house in Pasadena. That's a whole nother story. But I was on the mid-climb coming up, about halfway up the incline. And in front of me was I guess a 1 ton or 3 ton pickup pulling a gooseneck trailer with 3 forklifts on the back. And they're pretty good sized forklifts. He had them boomed down, but as I got closer to him, I pictured one of the forklifts coming off and slamming into the front of my little Toyota pickup, and they were little back then. I said, oh, no, this ain't going to happen to me. So I looked to my left, I looked to the right. I couldn't go to the right because there was cars right there, and I looked to the left. There was one car that once it passed me, I knew I could make it over. So I slowed down, and as that car passed me, I downshifted, hopped in to the next lane, and right as I shifted into third or fourth, I heard the loudest kaboom and kabang and beep, pow, zing. What in the effing world is that? So I looked back at my big side view mirror on the side of the pickup. 2 forklifts laying on the road. And a car that slammed into one of them. A car had slammed into the one that was meant for me. But I moved. And he's a tailgating son of a gun because he was tailgating me. So I'm sure he was right up on ass end of that trailer when that forklift came on. There were several other cars that were involved, but none of them suffered the damage this car did. Well, when I heard the news about it later on that night, when they talked about the accident, the man didn't survive. He was a young fellow, a couple of years older than I was. I think I was 22 or 23, somewhere in there. I think he was like 26 or 27. But, he didn't make it. Now, can you explain how a person can see that kind of stuff? Witness that kind of stuff? I can't. And I've done it since I was a small child. It's all in my book. The first book's more about my youth and the things that I went through as a small kid, later as a teenager, and as a young adult. And from the time I reached 22 and older, living in Houston or Pasadena, will be in my second book. And I'll probably carry that over till I reach my 50s. And on my third book, we'll talk about from my 50s till today. And that'll be interesting. So look out for my book. This will be the cover. They already sent me, this is not the book, but it is the cover. They sent me a copy of the cover so I could approve it. It will look like that. Probably a little bit better. I just printed it out from the internet, made a sheet and wrapped around that little book. I'm sure it's going to look a lot better than that when they do it professionally. But I wanted to get an idea of what my book might look like. And I hope that when it comes out, you'll buy a copy of it. The Unknown at 10, the experiences of a boy, my logo in my office, from beyond the natural world and the need to know. Now, if you're out there and you'd like to call in and ask a question, feel free to. I've had several people that come to me and, well, okay. Hold on just a sec. Hello. Well, another bullshit call. I hate to answer my phone sometimes. Don't even know why I answered that one, 'cause the office phone where you would call me. 210-416-4538. Hey, my office you can find on Yelp, Yellow Pages under Psychic Visions by Spiritualist R.J. Sheldon. Once again, I used to go by Spiritualist Joseph. But after the epidemic and the closure of the city and all that in the States, I had to close my website and close my office, and somebody else started using my name. So I had to switch to Spiritualist R.J. Sheldon, Psychic. In my office, you'll find it under the name of Psychic Visions by Spiritualist R.J. Sheldon. My website is psychic visions by r-j.net. And if you'll do me a favor, but do yourself a favor if you're interested in psychics and stuff of that nature. If you go onto my website and register, when you register, you leave your address and stuff, you'll get one of these cards in the mail. It's a punch card, and it has 3 categories on the back. I call it the never-ending well, I can't get it to stay standing. Look at that. It won't stay. There we go. Well, let's try it again. Well, it just won't do it, but that's all right. I call it the never-ending coupon. Why so? Because it has 3 categories, and it doesn't have an expiration date. It only expires when you finish using it. And when it runs out, you just get in touch with me and say, hey, RJ, my coupons run out. I'll mail you another one and get one that same day you're here. So go to my website, register, get one of these free coupons. And if you'd like to come see me, call me at 210-416-4538. Make an appointment 7 days a week. Anytime between 9 and 5, sometimes 6 in the evening. Friday and Saturdays, I'll work until 11 if I have somebody coming. I just ask that you call and make an appointment. If you can't make your appointment and your schedule, give me a call. Say, hey, I found a hot date, or I got something else I've got to handle. I can't come. And if for some reason you don't get to call me, don't worry about it. Just call me back, make another appointment. Once again, I'm Spiritualist R.J. Sheldon, local psychic clairvoyant, medium, spirit talker, paranormal investigator here in San Antonio. Y sí hablo en español. Soy González Maciate Sheldon. Here at your service. I don't charge an arm and a leg. Matter of fact, when you come to see me, your first 15 minutes are free. Hello? Free, free. Gratis. After your 15 minutes are up, if you still, oh, hold on. Who's there? What? Are you back? I don't have time for you. I really don't. I don't have time for you.
I've been watching you.
I'm sure you
I
have.
know what you've been doing.
No, you don't.
You can't hide from me.
I
I'm
do.
always here, even when you're asleep.
I don't believe it. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. You gotta be
Knock,
careful.
knock.
Spirits out there are just always climbing on your back. So just give me a call, make an appointment, come see me. Your first 15 minutes are free. I will never tell you to come back and bring me $2 or $3 or $400, $500, $1,000 because I got something special to tell you. By George, if I'm a psychic and I got something to tell you, I'm going to tell you. I don't charge it on the leg. Don't need to. I already proved myself years ago. I've done several live performances. I look forward to my book coming out, and I hope that you'll get a chance to buy a copy when it does. Then Known at 10, the experiences of a boy. From beyond the natural and the need to know, I am spiritualist R.J. Sheldon, your local psychic out here in the Alamo Heights area, by the airport, by the quarry. Jones Malsberger, look for it. 10 or Jones Malsberger, Oak Lake. Actually, not too far from the world headquarters for Whataburger. I shouldn't be plugging for them, but I do love Whataburger. Ever since I was a kid. Yeah. Spirit. And if you have a spirit bothering you, like that face on my door, I'll come help you. Come see me. I look forward to it. Until next time. Next Wednesday, 10:30. Everything goes right. Unlike today, I was going to be on air by 10, and my phone just started going off the wall. Well, it wasn't on the wall, but you know what I mean. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and share. And I'll be sharing another story out of my book next Wednesday. This is the cover of the transcript that I send to my ghostwriter, Edward Jones, at Brooklyn Publishing. And they are wanting to get this book out as soon as possible. It was supposed to be in one book, but they decided it needs to be 3 books. Just too much stuff. Nothing on there is a lie. Everything's the truth. And there still are a few people alive that can verify it. So come join me. Next Wednesday, for spiritualist R.J. Sheldon, the Psychic Hour, reviewing my book, and willing to answer a question if you want to call in or come in live on YouTube. Ask it. It's free. I'll do one. But one thing you can keep in mind, I may not tell you exactly what you want to hear. I'm not going to tell you stuff to make you feel good if it's not so. I'm not going to tell you that tomorrow you're going to get a bag full of money if it's not so. I'm going to tell you what I pick up, what the Lord will share with me, and what the Spirit will share with me. But I believe in God, Jesus Christ, and Almighty, first and most of all. And only what He lets me share, I'll share with you. Check out my website. Read the testimonies on there. Leave me a message. Come and see me. Website, psychic-visions-by-r-j.net. And I'm sorry for the way it is, but the people that built it for me, that's the way they put it together. So I accepted it because they gave me a good price for coming back after closing it the last time. Until the next time, be respectful to the spirits. Remember people that are dead. Oh, that's another thing. If you recently lost somebody in your life and you need closure, I am very well known for that. All those up there, and I have others, as people that have come looking for closure from a lost loved one. Sometimes looking for an answer. Say the text says I'm only 85% accurate. I've had people tell me I'm more than 100% accurate. I'll leave that up to you. With that said, have a wonderful day. I look forward to meeting you. And don't hesitate to call me if you'd like to come see me. You make an appointment. Your first 15 minutes are free. If you don't like what you hear, you're not happy, you can get up and say, well, it's been great. Thank you. Hasta la vista. See you. Wouldn't want to be you. Whatever. Ain't going to hurt my feelings. But if you decide you're going to stay, you want to go through with complete reading, then the price kicks in. And I won't advertise it on here, but I guarantee you it's a good price. I'm not here to get rich. But if I can get a little bit to help pay for my time on YouTube and my phone system and my equipment, and then I'm happy. Be sure and join me at 12:45 on YouTube live. R.J. Sheldon's birthday wishes for today, August the 19th. And if it's your birthday, come join me. And you can call in at 210-416-4538 and request that special birthday song or a special song for that special someone that you might love. He, she, or mom, dad, grandma, grandpa. Come join me. Once again, you're listening to Spiritualist R.J. Sheldon, psychic, here in the Alamo Heights area of San Antonio. The Lord's blessings, may His spirits be in your favor. I like this violin. Ain't it beautiful? So look for me next Wednesday at 10:30. Hopefully the world won't come to an end before then, right? Oh! Really got to do something. Well, next time.